Hello. This is a program that has been going around in my head for a while, and you're probably wondering, who is this person who's coming on here and saying she's got a program in her head? Well, that's me, Margo Jones, and I have retired from teaching many, many years ago. And there is something that's been happening in our country that quite a number of years ago was set off because of the third month of the president's term of office before Biden was in, so that's the other president before. He had a situation with the governor of Washington State that the governor did not like what it was that he was being asked to do. So the president at that time said, if you don't get to agree with me, you're not going to get anything shipped to your state. And when I heard that, all of a sudden, the president of our United States was making an issue out of disagreement with him. And in that point, I knew he was an unhonorable man. Now, being an honorable man, most people are, but there are some families that being an honorable person is very important. And in our family, being honorable was one of the things that our dad taught us and involved us in all kinds of things like scouts and contributing to our neighborhood and our city. He was a very important person in our town. So being honorable was very important. And so here it is, approximately 8 years later, that it has struck me that we have a president again, and he is showing characteristics that I don't think our president should have. So what did I have to go to? I had the Constitution. And if you've ever seen me before in a program here, it's with George Binns, and we have studied the Constitution part 1, 2, 3, 4. And so today, I'm going to go from that point to day one of the inauguration of our new president. And I have here that before he is able to administer his office, he goes before a committee and swears to the oath of office, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. After having said this, he departed where he had given this oath to the White House and sat there before the camera and gave the following mandates. What shall we do here? We will have a new Department of Economic Efficiency, and the person who will be the head of that committee will be a non-elective person, and that means that we now have a new new department. So I'm going to go through a few of the things that the Constitution has for the office of president to be held to. I want you to recognize that our Constitution is like a playbook for any game. Anything outside of that playbook is not acceptable. It has rules and regulations. It is not a business. It is a government. And the government of our people is made up of two departments, the legislative department and the executive department. Over on one side is the huge basket into which so much takes place, and that's the legislative department. And over here there is a little tiny island called the executive department. And the president gets to rule everything over in the executive department. And over here is all of our senators, our representatives, the people that work for them, and the things that they do. All the people over there are elected. The people that work with them are either selected or appointed. The hiring is done within the legislature, made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. There is no place ever mentioned in our Constitution of hiring and firing. There is electing, appointing, and the third one I've just already said. And they can be there. If they are not wanted, they are held responsible for their job. If they are not found to hold the standard, they are released from their obligation. But we have a president on day one who has created a department of economic efficiency. Where did that come from? Did that come because he worked before he was the president on Inauguration Day? I don't know. None of us know. And he has put at the head of it not an elected person, but a selected person, the one that was selected by the president. And it is the next item on his list that infuriates me to a great deal. The firing, notice the word firing, we've never heard it in the Constitution, of over 1 million people. Now, to make it seem as if this is a good thing he is doing, he is giving those people who don't know that they're being fired for no reason at all, of pay through to September. Or they can resign, and if they don't do either of those two things, they will be fired. And that is the state of a lot of people. And then the, right here, I have a guide for my people. We have the firing, they're resigning with the country. The second thing that happened almost immediately was the person who has taken the office of the executive department has said, we are going to cut off all funds of anything that has been outside of our country. Now that concerns all of the health people and the people in business outside of our country. The one thing that really annoyed me was the Voice of America being, after I think something like not just 42 years, but even much longer than that, being cut off as a way of communication between our country and the world. To have people fired who are in other countries that have no way to get home because they're not paid anymore. They haven't been compensated for the fact that they're working outside the country. But on to the next particular item of concern, and I do have lots of things to do. All right, so we have the Voice of America, and these are the people that were fired that I'm going to talk quickly about. Who was the first to be fired? The heads of security of all the departments. And you don't know the heads of security as to what they are. They are appointed by the Senate to be the buffer of all of the departments. Each department has a head of security. And there are over 10 departments in the Senate that are headed by these people, and they've all been, I hate to use the expression, had their heads cut off of the departments. Why was this so important to the man coming into office? Because they knew how to run any interference within the department with the people that they are working with. If you take them out and you put in their place people who have not been elected, and that is the situation that occurred on day one. The fact that we now have these people out, something you wouldn't know if I didn't tell you, these people all have have been appointed for a term of office, and they are not fireable. They now have, except for one out of the 10, cases going through to put them back into position, and it is because these have a term of office that could be 2 years, maybe they have 4 years left or more, and when their time is up, their committee either replaces them as the head of the department or selects somebody else to take their place. And this is the person, our new guide for the country, who has done this with such aplomb. And where does he get off doing this? Well, there isn't time to go through that, but there is one part that really comes up to the conclusion on this particular issue, that the creation of the Department of Efficiency could have been put into the legislature and had them be notified they need to reduce their forces. Well, you and I don't know how many people work there, but in 1967 or 9, the number of people working in the departments is exactly the same as the number of people working in the departments today. And yet they're going to fire 1,200,000 people? Now that seems like an awful lot of people going out. So over all of those years, we have had people working for us. So I can tell I'm going to run out of time if I don't go quicker on all this stuff, because I really want to get to what is happening with the mandates that our president is doing. And the sense of control that the president has came to me in waking up one morning. And if you want something and somebody else has it, what do? You ask him for it, he might say no, but you still want it. So what do? You fight him over it. Well, in the olden days, that was called war. And once you have accomplished your goal of getting it, you want more because now you are the winner. So you go on and you get more power by defeating something. You get more power by defeating something else. And so we have these people who are now in power. And in modern times, we had World War II that had a leader who wanted power. And if you don't know who that is, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go into that right now, but that person had to find something to have power over. And for him, it was people that were not like him. Those people who most of us know are Israelites today. And catastrophe happened. There were people who said, they can't go and kill all those people. They're good people. But that happened. And now we have somebody who's leader of our country who has decided that those people who he doesn't like, the immigrants, are going to leave. And he has said, I'm going to close the border so that we don't have all these people coming in to our country. And so that solved a lot of people's feelings about his sense of control. Because it is an issue, because millions of people did come into our country because we had an open border agreement, and if they could get in, all right. So we have had lots of things to consider for immigrants. And then it dawned on me, we all are immigrants, except for those people who are the natural natives of the country, the United States. So there are people who are the word escapes me now that I'm working on a different thought, but the origin of Native Americans, what's the term I want. We have people who came in as explorers in the 1600s. We have settlers who came in because they were outcasts from their country. And we had more people came in because they needed to find new homes. And so we have a population based on people who came into this country. And now we have a president in our order of things who don't want to have any immigrants. They're all bad people. We have people who have come in who have been here to work for us, and we all know who they were. And now they are accepted in our society. They are our workers amongst the rest of us. They are Americans. They are across the board. They have their citizenship. They have their notice. They can vote and do all kinds of things because the Constitution has given them, and a whole lot of other things. And the Constitution is just really such a wonderful guide for our country. So what does our president do? He says, we are going to export them. We are going to cast them out of our country. They have to be legally here. Any of these people, they will be exported. They don't have any control over what it is he has ordered, and so we have the people fearing. Now, how could a whole bunch of people who come in here illegally fear? The president has taken one person and made an example of it. He has cast one person into the prison of El Salvador, and that prison cost our country, the removal of that person with 200 other persons cost our country $6 million. And this has happened very quickly after the president has been in office. And I would like to know, I knew I'd need water. where this $6 million came from, that he is claiming only $1 million in cost. But it seems as if there is a ruling in our Constitution which has something called due process. And so we have here over 200 people who have been taken off our shores and cast into a prison. I don't want to describe it because it would make you ill. Just thinking about their mishandling of those people is enough to turn anybody sour about what is happening. So due process was brought for that particular person, and he had been released after, I think, 9 months there. Not 9 months, 3 months. And then is now in interrogation, in process of being exported again because of his ability to be kind to people. That we don't need to go into either. So here we have the deportation by people who are now under the classification of ICE people. Nobody knows who they are other than they came from a department outside of legislation and the executive branch. And they wear masks. And they are not giving themselves any credit for who they are, except for to take the people off the street and to secure them into places where they can be deported. And the president of our country wants at least 3,000 of them every day taken by these ICE people. So we have these people, but this one person who has been taken, and the way he has been handled is what we call the one who brings fear into everybody else that they might be next taken off of the street. And we know to what I am referring. And those people who have citizenships are not privy to being not taken because they are of the background of the countries that this particular president doesn't like. And I don't have too many minutes left on what I can talk about, so I'm going to go quickly into the tariff situation. We have now taken care of the people situation where he needs to control, but because the Senate, the legislature has all the money, what can he get money? Where can he handle money? Tariffs are a really good place to get money coming in. And so he has, again, affronted almost every country. Canada, Mexico, tariffs where they weren't before. And where are the people going to find the money they're going to need to have to pay for the raise in prices that the consumer gets the bulk of the problem of who gets what? The president gets money from the country, and that goes into the treasury. But the people have to pay because the country wants the money back that they had to pay the government for this privilege of giving us goods, things that we don't have. And as a result of this, the tariffs has become a big issue. Now, I could keep on talking about the tariff situation, but it actually goes into the people that the president is. They are immigrants. They come to our country. They have relatives overseas. So what does he do? He closes those countries from entering our country. Almost all over the world, there are related people. We are offspring of immigrants, and those people who are out there, who are in here. One doctor went to her country, and our president said, "You can't come back because you are one of them." Although she had worked here for 3 years, and my time is running out, so I have to quickly get into something else. The one thing that got me really activated was No King's Day, and that was because the people were tired of hearing that nothing was happening. And I'm going to run out of time, and I'm going to have to ask for an overload of more time, because I haven't even tackled the problem that is right now so great in our country. Our president did not know that there were people in our country until the department he was closing down in the legislature was one of those that 100 people died because they did not have an alarm system in Texas. They had tried for years to get that installed. A small community does not have the finances to put in some of these very expensive ways of contact called whistles and alarms that will tell you that there is a problem. The department he was closing was FEMA, and that is one of the departments that these people needed. He was awake to the fact that this is something that is going on. He is canceling out the places where any of these people are being in control. So I don't know where I can end this, because I haven't even begun to talk about what I want to talk about. And so I may have to call them and tell them I need to have another program called The People Do Have, after they showed that every state could respond to the No King's Day. There is a place that people can correct this ill that has fallen on them. They have a voice. They have a vote. There are amendments that can be made to change the state of affairs. And it is going to have to be in another term, or turn this one off and go into a whole new program here, because that woke me up to the fact, not just that, and I will close this with, I know, just moments, something I got in the mail. The National Future of Social Security ballot. This was mailed to every state in our union. And this is just one copy. If everybody is to vote that they want to have their money put into a fund within our treasury, and it will always be there for them to take out, this is where having a ballot, the people can speak and let the country know that they have a voice and a way of getting things done that need to be done. And I'm almost out of time, and I thank you for listening to my triad, but it is important that people know people have power, not money. The MAGA, Make America Great Again, is millionaires are governing our country. And the DOGE is not something that I'm going to explain, but we could have a people's party that is only the people's voice, not run by funds or anything else, that everybody could be a part of. And I might have another program that describes what a people's party could do. You people are out there, and we have ways. We have amendments to the Constitution by a constitutional convention, which just means people from every state get together and they vote on issues. And all of those issues are extremely important right now. And there are the right to Social Security, protection of our land that we have as national parks that is being sold off to the buyers to drill into and to sell the goods that are ours. There are so many things out there that we need to protect. Our country is great. And I want to say, if you are still listening, thank you for being a part of our program. I probably haven't gotten you stirred because I haven't really even tackled all the things that we have to decide, but it is just one of those. Education. In our Constitution, education says it is a power of the people, not the president. There are other things that are the power of the people. The national parks, women's rights, the Supreme Court has been such an abuser of its power. And I could have 10 minutes alone just on what's wrong with our Supreme Court right now. And it is just one of those extremely important things. If I were to read to you just this one comment there, and I did read to you the oath of office, but the comment that is made for the Supreme Court, one of the justices made a application for a vote of his other members of the court, and that was, we should give the president immunity. And because they voted yes on his behalf, because they're controlled by our good leader, the president now has immunity. It's not a law, it's a judgment. There are people who have the power of immunity. They are ambassadors to this country. They are people who are tried. They have immunity if they have been found not guilty of a murder. And to give our president immunity because a Supreme Court justice has written out and given his court, his jury, voting privileges, and they passed it, not with a majority, but they passed it, and so our president has immunity. I can see that our time is running out, so I guess I'm just going to have to say thank you for listening, and I do hope that if I do have another program to present what we can do as a country by voice and by vote, that you will be interested enough to find out what we can do. This is Margo Jones wishing you the best of what we have to live with right now. Thank you for listening.